Here's what I want to know is how do they improve on something that we have deemed to be about as good as it can get? Hello friends, and thanks for being here. Today we're checking out a big new release, that is if you're in Japan or Australia, and is Adam's Golf back in the game? Let's see what the guys know today. This is episode number 55 of No Putts Given. Let's get it. Today we've got Tony, Harry, and Chris, and we're here to chat about a couple of things. Hi guys, how are you?
I do well.
What's up?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I want somebody to open the show by telling me something that I don't know.
Picnic table kind of thing, our outdoor dining table we've had for like 20 years, shattered yesterday.
Wow, why?
Or a couple days.
The sun.
Don't know.
It's the sun.
I was born in Virginia. Also.
I didn't know that.
See, there you go.
I didn't know that. I thought you were born in Japan.
Yeah.
My brother was born in Japan. I modeled in Japan. My brother was born.
I knew you modeled in Japan.
I see, I did know that.
Were you on like any like cereal commercials, like Weetabix kind of boxes?
I would say the two biggest things I did, I was in two catalogs. One was for Fuji Film, so not Fuji Kura, but the Fuji Film company.
Yeah.
And probably the bigger one is I was in a Hello Kitty catalog.
Hey, kitty cat.
Hello, Tony.
That's right. Like Miranda's like, wait a minute.
What were you modeling in the Hello Kitty catalog?
So it was like a typical product catalog where we show you our entire line. And so it's like me at a desk and a table with other kids, that sort of thing. So I wasn't wearing like...
You weren't dressed up as a cat.
Yeah, it's not as a cat, or I don't know if there's such a thing as like a Hello Kitty bunny suit from like, Christmas Story or something like that. No, it was just, a tiny dude in a product shot, so to speak.
You don't have any snacks today?
We got peppermint. Little Knibby CBD. We're on to peppermint flavor. It's it's really good. It's
I like how this
flavor.
is a snack for you.
I know.
It is
CBD droppers.
Yeah.
I feel like we're like 2 weeks away from Chris taking that roll-on cream
and just
being like...
Alrighty, well, we should jump into our topics today. What do you guys think?
Let's get it.
Ready for it?
Get it. Yeah.
All right, the first one I've got for you, Ping is releasing the new G425. It's 3 drivers. You can get it if you're in Japan or Australia, right, Tony? But here's what I want to know is how do they improve on something that we have deemed to be about as good as it can get?
Well, first, it will be available initially in Japan, Australia, other parts of the world, not in the USA, which is like totally super weird, but thank you, COVID. As far as improvements, it'll be interesting because Ping typically isn't one to be like, hey, we did this revolutionary new things, technology nobody ever has had before, and it's the greatest thing ever. They tend to be sort of matter of fact. Yeah, we made some subtle improvements here and here and here, like small things, and we think the sum of those small things adds up to something that maybe is going to be better for some golfers. So, we've seen some things with like changes to where that rear weight placement is. I think, there may be a story there. But otherwise, I would expect it to be subtle refinements, and Ping has acknowledged, it takes 3 to 5 years to kind of have a wow breakthrough with a driver, or to see kind of a step up that makes an appreciable difference if you bought the one before it, so to speak. So I would expect subtle improvements, but that said, I would still expect it to be really good, because that's what Ping does. So, the SFT model, their anti-slice driver, I would expect that to do just a little bit better job of slice correction. Given that the plus is gone and the max is kind of that mainstream market driver, I would expect that to be higher MOI, more forgiving. And the LST, that's the unknown. That's the one I'm kind of really looking forward to taking a closer look at.
Harry, what do you think? How do they improve on something that you played the G400 for a while, right? Can they get better?
Yeah. That's a tough one. G400 in general was like a breakthrough for Ping, I believe. And they admitted themselves that they couldn't perform better with the LST. So they waited waited a little bit so they can make an incremental difference. That I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be any better, but if it is, they might change a little, like Tony said, weighting here and there. The biggest thing is, why has it gone from G400 to G410 and then put 15 on the end of it for G20 425? I reckon they made a huge mistake with 420. Because look at the marketing.
You just took my hot seat question, man, but keep going.
Just think of it. I can see a commercial. Ping G420, smoke drives. Like, use so much marketing. Go to the highest of launch angles with the G420.
The new irons like higher than ever.
Or maybe we're seeing evidence as to why they didn't go with G420.
No, I'm pretty sure that this is a marketing mislaps on their point. They could have made millions.
They're the Ping has to be the least 420 company in golf.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what do you think? Harry touched on some missed opportunities, but
Yeah.
do you think Ping can improve on what they've already done really well here with the G425s?
Possibly. Kind of thinking maybe there'd be a coupon with it for some Cheetos or sandwich or something like that. Maybe that's where Harry was going. But yeah, they're like the least likely OEM to go down that route. Ping is like the the antithesis of all that. But can they improve on it? Yeah, they can. And I guess what I like about Ping is that it's not going to be necessarily something for everyone, like we saw when they went from 400 to 410. You saw, because we're kind of saying, how are you going to improve on this? Particularly the 400 LST was like, for a lot of people, really, really strong performer. It's okay, how are we going to improve on this? And it seems like a subtle thing, but adding the flatter lie angle settings to the hosel adapter, again, arguably more for the fitters, but for people that fight that hook a little bit, arguably a major difference for them. So I don't know that 425 is going to have something that significant. I'd imagine that the hosel adapter is going to carry over. I would imagine turbulators are probably going to carry over, maybe be slightly modified a little bit. But, the one thing...
Turbulator sounds like one of those words that you were tricking people with at the PGA show.
It's a Missy Elliott word.
Exactly.
There's a song about it out there if you haven't heard it yet.
Right.
There's a great turbulator song. But last point about that is Ping will never compromise on MOI, right? Like, that's their big rock, their foundation, forgiveness. So I would expect smaller improvements that don't force any type of step backward or probably even sideways on MOI. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's a fair assumption.
We love data at MyGolfSpy, so anything that we can get some data on and get some perspective and some insight into, we love it. So ShotScope this week worked with us to put out some information on par 3 holes. And Chris, I want to know, what is the best way to attack par 3 holes on your home course?
Good question.
Thank you.
Really depends on the par 3 itself. To me, it's kind of like, par 3 holes, obviously you got par 3s, par 4s, and par 5s on most courses. And to me, the par 3s are really kind of their own separate entity. There's par 3 courses, you have short courses within long courses, and it's almost kind of like a little bit of a game within a game. And so I think, for different players, to me, the question is, think about the par 3s at your home course and how do you strategize those? Like, so for me, the first par 3 plays about 215 yards. There's a big Barritz in the middle of the green, so like a big kind of swale. A Barritz.
That's definitely a word I've never heard.
It's an architectural term. I may be throwing in words at you.
There is Miranda, something you did not know.
I didn't know that word.
But it's like 215 yards, water all down the left. And so, that has a way to play it. There's another one that's like, from the tips, it plays like 275 yards. I mean, it is like a driver. It's at least a 3-wood.
Yeah, but that's like 275 is like 140, right? 275 in Colorado.
I wish, And there's there's another one that's super unique. It's basically a peninsula, and the green, there's hazard on both sides. It actually reminds me of one of the par 3s at McGregor, where it's a really easy par 3 as long as you hit the green. And it's so narrow, and it kind of has this infinity pool look in the background, where like it makes it a little hard to judge the depth perception. So, different ways to play each of those holes. But the thing that I came back to with the ShotScope thing is a 3 is a really, really good score. The average PGA Tour player, they average 3.06 on par 3 holes throughout a year. Par is a great score on par threes.
All right, Tony, what's the best way to attack a par 3 hole on your home course?
Just don't. So I was kind of thinking about
Take
this,
a 4 and move on.
So the stat, and Chris would probably know the number off the top of his head, so feel free to interject here. But the percentage of golfers that have to hit a driver on a par 3 at least occasionally, and that's, that was a number that I could relate to. I'm fortunate at this point, like my home course, McGregor, we have 2 par 3s that routinely play over 200 from the member tees. Fortunately, I can usually hit a 5-wood max into those, but we do have a large proportion of our aging membership that has to hit driver, and many of those guys can't get there with a driver, and there's some ego there. We have senior tees the guys don't necessarily like to play from. We have a hybrid tees where, depending on the hole, you either play from the whites or the greens, and there's still some ego there where guys don't like to move up. So yeah, I mean, I would argue that for average golfers, there probably shouldn't be a par 3 that is that long, because it, as you mentioned in the article, Chris, right? Maybe the approach is to play it as a par 4. In a lot of cases, that's what you have to do, and kind of eat the shit on the bogey and go, yeah, I guess that's all right. But
yeah, or at least a par 3.5, right? Like number 3 at McGregor is a par 3.5. That's not a par 3.
Yeah,
there's no way that's a par 3.
No, and 11's a very similar situation where it's 200 plus to get to the green, and if you miss either side or long, you'll be lucky to walk away with double. So yeah, challenging.
All right, Harry, what do you think? What's the best way to attack a par 3?
Through data. I mean, if you got, why not have your shot scope data, and you play your home course every time, and you think, all right, I'm going to miss this. I miss this left the majority of the time. Hey, how about you go right this time, and you might have a better score.
Miss right, not left.
Yeah. Or you. I mean, I have definitely done this in a tournament, and if it's blowing with wind, I'm laying up. Again, it all depends on the conditions of that day. So I have played in tournaments where it's 30-mile-an-hour winds in England, and I'm trying to just advance the ball. I'm not trying to go for the greens. I'm just trying to get the ball in a forward direction in the course, and then try and go up and around the green, and then try and get up and down. That's all I'm trying to do. And if par 3, if it's 210 yards with water down the left and over the green, I'm going to lay up right potentially and try and get up and down, just because I know the majority of the golfers are going to be making bogey or double anyway. And if I can try and sneak a par, I am getting 1.5 strokes on the field on par 3s alone, depending on how long it is. So use the data to your advantage.
All right. I like it. So this week, one of our writers, John Barba, who I'm sure you all love reading his articles, but he put out an awesome profile of SkyTrack. And so I want to know, are at-home launch monitors worth the money in any case? Tony, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love it. In fact, so I've got our foresight here, and have not had the opportunity to go over and use the indoor facility at the golf course like I have in the past. And so I'm like, all right, where can I set this up indoors? Is there something I can do in the garage? Can I quietly, when the wife is away from the house for a little while, take out a ceiling somewhere and convert our guest room to the upper floor of my simulator, whatever it happens to be. Yeah, I think just the opportunity to practice without having to leave your house, if you can have that set up, is ideal. And especially
but
too,
is it worth the money?
Yeah, when you're looking at, and again, I would want a GC quad set up because I love having that head data, but on ball data alone, for now you're looking at all in for maybe somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000, depending on how over the top you want to go for a like a SkyTrack setup, for example. Yeah, that is well worth it, especially, I'm trying to take lessons, but it's hard to sort of take what I learn in the lesson bay and go over to the golf course and work on it during a round, or find time to sneak off somewhere and practice. But if you're in the house and you have time to take what you worked on in the lesson and continue that and work through it and build on it in your own in your living room. Yeah, that's the ideal setup.
Right on the dot again. You're doing this really well. You've practiced.
I didn't even know we were going to have a clock.
What if we gave Tony a similar time limit, like a word limit on articles? Could you do that?
No way. No. Adam's like, you know what? Let's try and keep this one like around 800 words. Perfect. Yeah, no problem. Here you go. Here's the 3,600 I wrote.
I sent Tony an email once. I was like, we're thinking 700 words. And he just said,
like,
no.
Here, I'm going to write like 3-word articles. Tailor-made wedge. That's it.
Done.
Harry, what do you think? Are at-home launch monitors worth the money?
I'm going to say yes because I know my wife and she won't let me if it's not acknowledged. So yes, they are worth it. I think one of the biggest things about it is don't just go buy a launch monitor because you want it in your house. Go buy a launch monitor that actually is accurate, plus gives you enough data points that you can use to benefit your game. And right now, there's only a couple out there for personal launch monitors within like the $2,000 range that is good enough for you to trust. For instance, SkyTrack is one of those models. And it is one of the best ones on the market for your indoor simulator. If you go for $500 ones, in my opinion, you're still about 2 years out before you even look at getting those in. Yeah, I know 2 years is that push, but it's a it's a while away. But look at the numbers. So what are you trying to work on? You're trying to work on launch angle, spin rate, your side axis, whatever it is, make sure that you have a model that can tell you those and it is comparable to the leading ones in the market, like a GC Quad or a TrackMan. And right now, SkyTrack has those data points to back that, but there isn't many on the market that don't have enough data points for you to learn and improve on.
All right, Chris, what do you think? I'm seeing a screen in the background that looks like you might actually have a launch monitor in your house, right?
Yeah, I'm just turning the camera there. You kind of be able to see it on the YouTube one here a little bit. But yeah, this is something we worked on as part of the story too, is kind of building an in-home launch monitor and being able to do that. So is it worth it? I'd say yeah, so long as you're willing to invest a certain amount of money. You got to go at least SkyTrack or better, I think, to get the benefit out of it from a performance standpoint, if you're actually going to be working on things as opposed to, hey, I'm just going to put, a couple mattresses against the wall and hit balls against that, which, if you're not willing to spend at least SkyTrack money to do it, then get mattresses, something like that, and go as cheaply as you possibly can. But is it worth it? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's I think it's becoming one of those things where there's more function to it as well. I mean, you've seen different trends throughout time. Obviously, like in the 1990s into 2000s, that was kind of the first wave of the hot tub trends, I think, that I was a part of when I started becoming a hot tub connoisseur. And but that was an investment, So you're kind of talking about same dollar figure amount now. If you want a decent in-home setup, I would say, really consider how you're going to use it, what you're going to use it for, so that you do use it. So it doesn't become the treadmill of your basement or whatever, where it's like, oh, it looks great, and now there's 3 inches of dust on it because, nobody's used it. Really think about how you're going to use it, how you want to use it, but is it worth it? Hell yeah.
I want to throw out a mention too of like what you're starting to see now is more and more of these bundled packages, right? Because even when Chris built his, it was like, all right, I have a launch monitor, now I need to go to Home Depot or wherever and get some aluminum beams and some zip ties and some all this stuff and all this various stuff.
Right.
And, Foresight now, for example, has, they call it a sim in a box. And it's literally like everything you need. It's the cage, it's the launch monitor, it's the computer, it's the projector, it's the stand the computer goes onto. So it's literally like you just have to know where it's going to go and make sure that it'll fit the space, and you can order in a single click basically everything you need. And that's a simple version. They also have a simulator build out tool I stumbled upon this morning by accident, which is like, you put in all the details of your space and whether you want a wide screen, a curved screen, or a hitting net, and it basically takes all of the thinking, if you will, out of it and simplifies it. I think this is the trend. You're going to see more and more of these kind of things going into homes, especially, in the COVID era. We've seen home improvement in its various forms is kind of really hot. You know, I redid floors in my family room. I would have much rather had put in a simulator, but yeah.
Sim in a box. Doesn't it anybody else remind you of that song? The Justin Timberlake's SNL?
I still have Missy Elliott stuck in my head. Is it worth it? Let me work.
Miranda's outtakes on this episode are just awesome.
Harry, what do you want to add?
I just want to add, like, for instance, if you're up in Northern America, if you can only play golf, 6 months of the year at best, and you're under snow for the rest of it, then I think a simulator at home is a must. Because if you're an avid golfer, then you want to be playing golf all year round. So that is definitely a must. If you're snowed in like Tony, get a simulator if you can afford it.
I'm gonna need to ask for a raise so I can put like an addition on my house. But this is a terrible yet true story. So, I was thinking, like, my brother always jokes about my mother coming to live with me, which is,
oh geez,
yeah. And I'm like, but what if I built the addition in the house and like her bedroom was the simulator and we had like a Murphy bed we just kind of folded out of the way when she wasn't sleeping? I'm like, would that be worth it? I decided no, it wouldn't.
I don't really even know where to go with that. Yeah, so Tony, this week there was a tweet that came across your timeline, and I just want to know what you thought when you saw Adam's golf. Did you do a double take, a triple take? Did you think you were back in 2015?
This was definitely a kind of what the... So background here, for the first time in like 5 years, I believe, or so, Adams sent out 2 tweets over the span of 5 days, and another one hit the Twitterverse this morning. So yeah, Adams golf is, I don't know what it means, right? So we can speculate.
Yeah, we have no idea.
TaylorMade still owns Adams, so my speculation is, hey, they may bring it back under what it was planned to be at one point, like this super game improvement fun brand for beginners, which when you consider how hot the golf market is right now and how well box sets are selling, for example, it would actually make a lot of sense to kind of launch Adams in that space, put a box set on the shelves. TaylorMade can socially distance itself from the stigma associated with that and make a shit ton of money in that area. So that's one possibility. It could be just kind of floating it out there for a potential buyer. And the other thing that is also remotely interesting is that another company, Ram Golf, which is based in Hong Kong, has tried to trademark the Adams name. So it's just as possible that these tweets are being put out to sort of show that, hey, this is a real brand. It's alive. We're not dead. And so you can't come in and take over it. We're a real thing and we exist, and, no soup for you.
Harry, is Adams golf rising from the dead? What do you think? We're speculating. Disclaimer, we have no idea.
I don't have any opinion now because Tony took all of my opinions and put them into his own little speech, so I don't have shit.
You got 75 seconds. Talk about whatever you want.
I think it's going to go down the route of the Dick's Sporting Goods big box kind of full set line. I remember playing Adams Golf Club here and there growing up, and it felt, it was a nice feeling club. It was easy to hit, but apart from that, I have no clue why they're back, and it could be exactly that reason why Tony said, let's put it out there just to tease the potential buyer that might happen.
You're just be messing with everybody.
Yeah, or they might just be like, hey, here's a teaser. Actually, no, we're not going to do it. Go suck it. It could just be that too. So no one even knows. I don't think even Adams Golf know at the moment. They're just seeing if anything catches traction and whether to put money back into the company or not. Or if there's a gap in the market for the big box of the Dick's Sporting Goods line. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, you could have talked about the possibility that an intern scheduled these tweets 5 years ago, and they're just
well,
now
you just stolen Chris's idea, and now he's got 90 seconds.
Now I'm all out of ideas as well.
Chris, do you have anything that hasn't been stolen by the two previous guys?
One previous guy, largely Tony. But no, I would say, is it coming back? And Tony mentioned this in the article too. Even if Adams does come back as the name, it'll be kind of Adams in name only. What a lot of us remember as some of those class leading pieces of equipment when, one, they did have kind of this cultish following amongst better players, certainly with hybrids, fairway woods. And I remember the 9064, I think it was the 9064 LS driver. That one might actually still be in the garage somewhere.
That's
but
like the first driver I ever loved as like a MyGolfSpy guy.
Yeah, like a low spin. I mean, it was awesome. So the memories that I have of Adams, of these like really kind of, iconic's probably too strong of a word, but these really, really cool products, really high performing products, that's never coming back. I think that unfortunately, that was part of however the debacle went, however the purchase went with TaylorMade, and whether or not there were, patent issues involved in that purchase and acquisition of certain technologies and things, that TaylorMade absorbed, and then, many will argue continue to use even those next 2-3 generations after Adams was acquired. That's really what, where the Adams technology piece has gone. Unfortunately, I think if Adams does come back, it's going to be like Blue Line at best and box set at worst.
All right.
Sad.
Pour one out for Adams.
Watch Adams just take over the whole golf industry now. They've come up with so many new patterns that they're going to take over the whole industry. I got a great way how we can end every episode is an English phrase, and you got to try and figure out what it means. Miranda, you can't say that because you live with one. All right, so I am Hank Marvin for a Ruby Murray.
Oh, I know this.
Do you want me to say it again?
Yeah, can you slower and louder this time, please?
I'm Hank Marvin for a Ruby Murray.
Is there any context at all to this? Like,
just think of it as rhyme and slang.
You really have a hankering, a strong desire for a Bloody Mary. That's what I'm guessing with.
That's not that bad.
You got half of it right. Tony, anything for you?
I'm hungry for something.
Yes.
I am hungry. I'm Hank Marvin for a...
What do we like in England? What is our national dish?
He doesn't know that.
Fish and chips.
No. So it's basically, I'm Hank Marvin, I'm starving, so I'm hungry, for a Ruby Murray curry.
Curry?
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No.
Don't spend much time thinking about it.
I'm hungry for curry.
Yeah. That's a education for the nation.
That's this week's English phrase of the week.
I gotta be honest with you, like that is so disappointing.
Just wait, we have so many different things that you're gonna blow your mind out. Desserts wise, spotted dick is another one.
I'm so sorry, what?
Yeah, seriously. No, yep.
Well, don't give them all away this week.
I will not be Googling spotted dick. That is for sure.
All right, well, if you like English phrases, random Missy Elliott lyrics, and we'll also talk about some golf, don't forget to like us, subscribe, leave us comments and reviews. We love reading them, and we like having you back.
No Putts Given is powered by MyGolfSpy, the most extensive reviews in golf. Before you buy, MyGolfSpy. 9 million readers do it every year. Check us out.